the organ is divided into different families of organ pipe, and those are represented by the different styles of pipe construction that we saw inside the organ. The basic kind of classic organ tone is the principal pipe, and those are the types of pipes that will be eventually mounted in the facade that will be visible. Those are just the regular metal cylindrical pipes. So here's the basic 8-foot principal. And on an organ, you can have different stops that produce the same type of sound, but in different octaves. So if that is the 8-foot principal, we can add a 4-foot on top, which is an octave higher. The 2-foot is an octave above the 4. And we can add something called the mixture, which we saw inside the organ, and that's a stop. If we listen to it by itself, we'll hear that it's multiple pipes being played by one key. And those pipes reinforce the natural harmonic series, or the natural overtones that were being produced, and it adds brilliance and color to the sound. So that forms the principal chorus, or the basic sound of the instrument. And every division of the organ has its own version of that. We also have flutes of various types. We have harmonic flutes, which are really wonderful solo sounds. And we have strings, which are intended to be at least a little bit representative, a little bit imitative of their orchestral counterpart. Depends on the organ. Some are more realistic than others. And we can add something called a celeste to that, which is the same type of pipe, duplicated, but slightly out of tune. We also have reed pipes on the organ. The basic sound for a reed pipe would kind of be a trumpet. We've got several different trumpets here. And we have a big solo reed, which is our tuba. So that's the sound you might hear in a hymn if the hymn tune is being played as a big, powerful solo. We have a few other color reeds. We have an oboe. We have a strange sound called the vox humana, which is theoretically supposed to sound a little bit like the human voice. You can judge whether that's very accurate. And this stop is almost always used with that tremolo that we heard earlier. We also have a stop called the cremona in the choir. Sounds a little bit like a clarinet, especially if you add a flute with it. And then the pedal division contains similar sounds, but they are lower, deeper sounds, going all the way down to what are called 32-foot stops. And these numbers on the stops correspond to the length of the pipe in feet. So you heard me refer to the 8-foot principle earlier. That means that the pipe roughly is about 8 feet long. And every time you go up an octave, that decreases the length of the pipe by half. So to go an octave above an 8-foot principle would be a 4-foot. So if we do middle C on 8, we can switch to the 4-foot, and it's an octave higher without moving our finger. So likewise, in the pedal, a 32-foot would be several octaves lower. And those are the sounds that really shake the room. And we can go to our big reed stops and hear the same thing. So those are some of the different sounds that the organ makes. The one final interesting thing to note is that many organs historically have had some mechanism to play an assortment of bells on the instrument. That's called sometimes a Zimbelstern. And we do have that on this organ. So if you hear bells sometimes, that's where that's coming from. That's located in the organ just outside of the choir division on the left side of the chancel towards the back wall. And then that's really about it. We have some other features on modern consoles. Some of these digital panels here allow us to have different memory banks or different levels of memory. And it's kind of a shortcut that allows the organ to store a lot more information than would be possible with just the buttons that are available. So you can switch levels and get multiple settings out of each key. So when we put that all together, we have the sounds that we hear on Sunday morning, whether it's playing mostly from the swell division to accompany the choir, as is traditional, or playing the more powerful sounds with the grate and the pedal for accompanying the congregation. I'd like to thank everyone who has joined for all of these video episodes throughout our organ tour. We hope you enjoyed them and found them informative. And if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to come up to the organ after church on a Sunday morning and ask. We also ask that you consider supporting our campaign. We want to keep the organ in top shape and continue to improve and complete the instrument so that we can have the highest quality music possible here at St. George's. Thank you.